Upset alerts is how I always like to lead off the Thursday show. I like to give you just the old gut feeling. Forget about the model, just the old gut feeling. How are we feeling about this? So I want to ask you, Texas A&M, how are we feeling? You guys are playing Texas, right? No, you're not. You're playing Auburn this week. So Texas A&M's a playoff contender. Auburn's terrible. What's the line on that, Josh? 10, 12, 14, 2.5. Texas A&M's a 2.5-point favorite. I have got an upset alert concern meter rating of 9 on this game. Marcel Reed, big test for him. Because I got to be honest with you, Auburn, not only do they have a great home field advantage, not only do they have the whole let's package this up as a Super Bowl thing, like Hugh Freeze needs one signature win this year, right? Yeah? I don't know if he'll get it, but he needs it. But not only that, they match up pretty well with Texas A&M. What does Texas A&M have to do? They got to run the ball. And what does Auburn do? Well, they're top 15 in stopping the run. Auburn's offense also, like really, really on the lowest of keys, is not bad. The team's not bad if, like, don't yell yet because I said if they don't have the self-inflicted stuff, which they've had like every game. But the thing I always caution you about late in the year with these talented teams that are just bad is any given Saturday, they can just not turn the ball over. Any given Saturday, they cannot have the self-inflicted wounds. That's not going to change the fact that they've been a bad team all year. But if A&M plays Auburn Saturday and Auburn doesn't turn the ball over, if they're half decent inside the red zone, Auburn can beat them by double digits because Auburn has, I'm looking at it right now, a top 25 talent roster, which is the difference in an untalented team that is, 4-6 is just bad. A talented team that's 4-6 is bad. They're not going to go to the playoff or anything, but they can bite you and humiliate you on a given Saturday. So I'm going to put a 9 on that one. There's another one happening in Kansas City featuring Colorado and Kansas, and there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about a commitment for Dion in Colorado that I'll get to later in the show. But there's also talk about playoff, and I'm concerned about it. Not because it's not warranted. Oh, absolutely it's warranted. I'm just concerned that people don't realize Colorado's a 2.5-point favorite in this game. This Kansas team reminds me of Florida. Both of them are sub 500. I think both of them are playing at a top 25 level right now, which, again, I cannot stress this clearly enough, does not mean I think they should be in consideration for anything. I am strictly referring to the level of play they're turning in right now, which means if you're Colorado, you better gear up to face what feels like a top 25 opponent on the road Saturday. Now, that's the bad news, kind of. The good news is I think Colorado matches up with Kansas fairly well. Kansas 81st against the pass. Also, when it comes to Colorado, stopping the run, which Kansas really needs to do, Colorado held Utah to 31 yards on the ground last week. Like, that was a surprising number they turned in. That's not something I think most people would have expected. So I've got a 7 on the upset alert concern scale, only because I really respect what Leipold's getting out of those guys. Jalen Daniels has been a lot better, but if I can make him throw the ball to beat me and I'm Colorado, I can live with the results. And I think I'm going to have success against them through the air. So I can live with those results, but still, this is a game you got to keep your eye on, people. Keep your eye on it. Penn State, no one's talking about it. I'm concerned. 3 taps for concern there. I'm concerned that everyone is just assuming that Penn State's locked into this home playoff spot. They replaced the sod. Jesse, you're all the way back in Nashville. You're like 5 states away from me. You know that you guys put new sod into Beaver Stadium. And you know good and well you're not just doing that for one more game. You're doing that because you think you got a home playoff game coming. And it's better to be prepared than sorry, as Meemaw would always say. Meemaw also said, don't show pictures of yourself resodding your stadium when you still got games to go. Penn State, yeah, she said that, by the way. Penn State, an 11.5-point favorite on the road at, wait for it, Minnesota. Now, what's Minnesota, Josh? They're 6-4. Huh. What? Well, if I were to do nothing more than go back in history and have them make a field goal against North Carolina and have that onside kick not overturned against Michigan, this is an 8-2 team that's in the playoff mix. That doesn't mean anything other than it is reasonable to expect an 8-2 caliber performance, like a top 25 caliber performance from Minnesota Saturday. Also, we have a big scheduling dynamic situation on our hands here, which we seem to keep running into in the Big Ten, but I digress. Penn State's playing their 5th straight game. It's the second leg of back-to-back road games for Penn State. Guess what Minnesota did last week? They sat at home. They did nothing. They're off a bye. So Oregon ran into one of those scheduling dynamic disadvantages at Wisconsin and got out with a win. Could this Penn State game look like that? I am concerned. I've got a 7.5 on it. Minnesota is the second best defense I think that Penn State will have faced this year, behind only Ohio State. Now, Penn State can do one of two things. They can mess around and get themselves in quicksand, and if they do, they could either lose this game or it could be bowling shoe ugly, as Jim Ross would say, and they barely escape with a win. Or they could do what they found ways to do a little bit more lately, and that's get off to a fast start, which, I mean, based on their style of play, was once thought to be illegal in Penn State circles. But yes, it is okay. They do allow you to start fast. They allow you to feed Tyler Warren the ball, but with the pair of safeties that Minnesota has, I wonder, is it going to have to be more than just Tyler Warren? And let's be real, man. If Penn State's going to do anything, even if they get past this game, yeah, it's going to have to be more than Tyler Warren. I'm not taking this game for granted. 11.5-point road favorite. I got a 7.5 on the upset alert concern meter. Kentucky at Texas. No. Also, I need to clarify something. Just because you're in this segment on the Thursday show does not mean I'm picking you to be upset. I ran into this with Notre Dame folks last week. You picked Virginia to upset Notre Dame. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. Show me the proof. And they screenshot, which is the past tense of screenshot, this segment. No one's picking Virginia to beat Notre Dame last week. In fact, I did the entire thing to show you that I didn't expect Virginia to win. I expected them to cover, which they did. Kentucky, I don't even know if they're going to cover here. Here's what I'll say. I've got a 3 on the upset alert concern scale, only because Texas could be looking ahead to A&M a little bit, and also because Kentucky is like dog water awful this year, except that they beat Ole Miss outright. They lost to Tennessee by 7, and they lost to Georgia by 1. And it's like no one even remembers that. Kentucky has played 3 top 10 teams, beat one of them, and lost to the other 2 by 7 and 1. So what are they going to do in Austin? Are they out of gas? They may very well be. It's another week where I guarantee I'll find myself watching Quinn Ewers, watching this Texas offense, and thinking, come on, do something. Come on, take over. Like they did it against Florida, but Florida was never going to be in that game because Lagway was out. Maybe Kentucky won't be in this game, but there are kind of dual themes going on with Texas right now. You go to Arkansas, you play Kentucky. Like, first and foremost, you need to win the game. But also, you want to show something that you could reasonably see copying and pasting into a bigger game, maybe against A&M, maybe in Atlanta, maybe in a playoff situation. Notre Dame against Army. We didn't talk about this Tuesday because I wanted to wait until the Thursday show. A 5. That's what I'm putting on the upset alert concern meter. A 5. Notre Dame's favored by 14.5. This game is in Yankee Stadium. Army needs early scores in this game. Army has not faced anything of note in terms of strength of schedule, which is okay. But that means when you got the number 3 run defense in the country, I'm still going to have to see it. That's all that means. Northern Illinois did it, man. Like, Northern Illinois ground a game to a halt against Notre Dame, and they won it. The thing about that is everybody knows that happened. Notre Dame knows that happened. Marcus Freeman knows that happened. And so because of that, I just don't know that it happens twice. Kenny Chesney once sung a song in that vein, and I just don't think this happens twice. I'm putting a 5 on it because I respect the United States Army, but I do not think they get this done. If they do, you know what? I'll lead the show with it Sunday night if they do. I don't expect it to happen. You know what Meemaw said about expectations, don't you? Well, I hoped you did, because I don't.